Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. I hope you're doing well. It's Saturday, July 25th, and I have a very quick and important video on the EIDL Advance. It's coming back. You may have seen this news already, and there's more details that have come out and whether this bill is likely to pass or not. So I'm going to get into that, but anyway, it's amazing news. We've helped so many people track their advances and their loans, and so many of you have still not gotten anything, or you got 1,000 instead of 10,000. So this is great news that was introduced by Senator Jackie Rosen earlier this week, a Democrat, and there's also Republican support. So that's a great sign already early in the process. There's bipartisan support to get EIDL advances, the full 10,000 in small businesses' hands as it was originally intended in the CARES Act. So I'm going to talk about that. Please subscribe. It means so much to us if you haven't already. And give this video a like so we can share this with as many people as possible. And the reason for that is, as many of you know, we've helped 100,000 businesses track their EIDL advance. Based on our self-reporting data, 71% of people have received some advance. Now, of course, the average we reported on was around between $3,000 and $4,000, so much lower than the $10,000 that most people thought they would get. But here's been the trend. As many of you know, in April and beginning of May, there was the peak approvals, and it's kind of been a slow trickle throughout June and July. And many of you are still waiting, still trying to figure out what's going on. So this is free to track, by the way, at helloskip.com/loan-tracking. helloskip.com/loan-tracking. I'll leave a link in the description. But the main point is that there's talk about getting the full 10,000. Now, people have questions about, well, what if I already got the full 10,000 or I got 2,000? So I'm going to talk about that. And in the video I did yesterday, I also talked about how there will be another PPP opportunity. Even if you already got a PPP loan, you will, based on the legislation framework, you will be able to apply again. So that's great news. I'm going to link to that video as well if you're curious about that. But let's get into the bill here. Okay, so here's what Jackie Rosen released on Tuesday. In a clever way, she uses the same EIDL acronym, ensuring increased disaster loans for the EIDL program. That's pretty clever of her team. Ensuring increased disaster loans. This bipartisan legislation would assist the nation's small businesses impacted by coronavirus pandemic by providing an additional $180 billion for the EIDL and EIDL Advance program. $180 billion. That's a ton, and based on this and the data we've seen about the number of small businesses interested in the advances, this amount would be able to give all the businesses $10,000 grant, period, and also allow them to apply for loans without the $150,000 cap. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because even a month ago, Senator Jackie Rosen was on record questioning the SBA, hey, why did you put this $150K cap here? You recall that originally this was up to $2 million EIDL loan. The advance was step one, $10,000. Then you have a shot at $2 million, up to $2 million. But then they changed the limits, $1K per employee, $150K max, because of demand and funding available. This would change all of that. So here's what she said back in June. Basically, she was saying that what the SBA was giving to businesses wasn't enough. Here's what she said. Many Nevada businesses have contacted my office telling me that $150,000 just isn't enough. It doesn't provide enough support. They will likely have to close their businesses. She goes on to say these borrowing caps were not the intent of Congress when we passed the CARES Act. They weren't part of any deal for the small business owners when they applied for their EIDL support. So that's very important. And that sentiment, which was backed by a lot of other senators and people in Congress, carried forth to the introduction of this bill earlier this week. Here's what she says in the latest here. As we work to address the impacts of COVID-19 on our economy, we must take further steps to support small businesses in Nevada and across the country who are in urgent need of assistance. Based on what Senator Jackie Rosen has said, she's made it seem as though another $10,000 will be available and the loan as well. So even if you got the loan in advance already, you would be able to apply again. And that's what we're reading here, and that would be great. Also on our dashboard, we track people who've applied for loans, and we have around 57% of people that have gotten an EIDL loan after they've gotten their advance, or some people didn't get their advance, just got the loan. Basically, this would change all of that, and hopefully we'd see these numbers 90% plus. That would be amazing to see that most businesses were helped. There's been lots of surveys. As far as we know, we have the largest amount of small businesses self-reporting. So it would be great to be able to go back in a few months, assuming this gets passed, and say, this program was great. Not only were businesses able to get the full $10,000 advance, but they were able to get the loans and at larger amounts. That would be fantastic. We would love to show that. Here's the bill as it's being tracked. Again, it's going to the Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship. Hopefully this week there is momentum. People are saying, oh, this might get passed in the next 2 weeks, right? Because they're in session now for another 2 weeks. So there is incentive to push this through quickly. And of course, a lot of people support this, not only businesses, but individuals, because the individuals work at these businesses. I'm going to leave a link to her press release. I'm going to leave a link to our loan tracker if you want to track loans and advances. And most importantly, as this gets updated this coming week, as it goes through committee, we're going to do updates. So we will also post updates on our tracker here. Anything that comes out in terms of what you need to know, etc., we're going to post on Skip as well. Thanks so much for liking and supporting us. It means so much to us. Thanks. Stay well and stay healthy.